home runs that she's hit, almost have to feel like you have to be perfect.
Just to show you how different things are right now as Addison Purvis steps in with the bases loaded and nobody out. When these two teams met in the middle of March, Borgen got a win and 2 saves. It was a sweep for Ole Miss. They outscored Mississippi State 18-1, and now in the SEC tournament, there's action in the bullpen with nobody out here in the first inning. Ava Tillman getting loose. Ball. Purvis, a freshman who's making her 16th start here today. Had a key pinch hit against Mizzou and earned a spot in the starting lineup. That one slap foul, and we'll do it again at 1-2. Another 1-2 to the freshman Purvis. Little roller to throw to first to get the out, but a run scores as Leilua comes in to make it 2-0 Mississippi State.
Purvis does a good job of just putting the ball in play, not striking out, being tough with 2 strikes. Allie makes a good throw. She's been so steady at shortstop for Ole Miss, but nonetheless, another run is going to come across. Leilua scores, and Mississippi State still rallying.
Paige Cook steps in. Second baseman at 268 on the season. Takes a strike. Borgen's last appearance was here at Rhodes Stadium on Saturday. Got the start, went 3 innings, gave up 9 hits to Alabama, 6 runs. They were all earned. Ball. Ole Miss was swept by Alabama last weekend here in Tuscaloosa. Now they turn right back around and play here at the Rhodes House. Falling behind early to Mississippi State. In on the hand, soft liner to Behringer at second base, 2 down.
Shortstop number 18, Madison.
They'll bring up Madison Kennedy, the sophomore shortstop for Mississippi State, hitting at 200 on the season with 5 homers, 21 runs batted in. As a team, Mississippi State, as you could imagine, has used the long ball pretty well. Tied for 5th in the SEC with 64 homers. Kennedy has 5 of those homers. Ball. Ole Miss, by contrast, has given up the fewest home runs as a pitching staff this year, 18. We did not have a home run in the opener yesterday between South Carolina and Auburn. There's a strike, 1-1.
Yeah, but what we did have in that game was a pretty wild first inning with seemed like nerves on both sides, and it didn't seem like it was going to be the same type of game that we ended up getting, which turned into a bit of a pitcher's duel and good defense, low scoring. Didn't seem like it was going to be that way.
This is a little bit of a reminder of yesterday. Bases loaded, nobody out for Mississippi State to get things going, and a run scored. And you get the feeling Ole Miss will feel like they're pretty fortunate to get out of this inning just giving up the 2 runs after loading the bases with nobody out. 1-2 the count to Kennedy with 2 down. Ball. Oh, that looked good. Called a ball. It's 2-2. Gillespie tried to sell it a little bit. Steve Gold, our plate umpire. 2-2. Fly ball to shallow left field. Puck comes on and puts it away to retire the side. Mississippi State breaks through with a couple of runs in the first. Ole Miss coming to the plate.
I know. I don't want to move either, kid.
So Anna Borgen gave up 3 straight singles and a walk to get things going in the top of the first, but then retired 3 in a row to give up 2 runs. And now it's time for Ole Miss to come to the plate. Paige Smith will lead things off. She's followed by Autumn Gillespie, Jessica Puck, and Sydney Gutierrez, the top 4 in the lineup. They had 3 home runs in that series with Mississippi State back in March. They've got 41 on the season, good for 10th in the SEC. And in the circle for Mississippi State, pitcher really pitching well as of late, Amanda, Emily Williams.
Yeah, she really is. I don't think her 3.75 ERA really reflects the type of pitcher that Emily Williams is capable of being. Tons of spin, very crafty.
Starts with strike 1 to Paige Smith.
She's going to spin up a rise ball, screwball. She'll also mix in a curve. Has that elite spin. Will also mix in a changeup. She changes speeds and changes spin very well. She's very difficult to barrel up.
Ball. Smith has some good pop at the top of the lineup for Ole Miss at .303 on the season, 11 homers, 35 runs batted in as Williams gets ready with the 1-1. 28th appearance for the senior from Carrollton, Georgia. 17th start. Last 2 appearances, both wins, both complete games. Gave up just 3 earned runs and 14 strikeouts in picking up a couple of wins. Had a 3-hitter against Georgia in her last start on Saturday. 3-1. Count now full 3-2 to Smith, leading things off here in the home half of the first. It's an Ole Miss team that likes to put pressure on you, and Mississippi State has struggled in the field this season, so Smith leads off for a walk, and let's see how Jamie Traxel tries to play it here. They're a team that likes to use the running game a little bit. See if they try to put pressure on that Mississippi State defense, which is last in the SEC in fielding percentage at .951. Here's senior Autumn Gillespie, the catcher. Ball.
You can tell, Eric, that Emily Williams is trying to throw that screwball. She's fallen off to her right side, and she's just missing it low, right below the knees. Not being able to hit a consistent spot over and over again. Maybe it's fallen out of her hand a little bit. Maybe she's fallen too much to the side.
Ball. Falls behind Gillespie, 2-0.
It's a good adjustment, though, right? Like, you have to feel good about that if you're Emily Williams, because you had missed low, low, low. Make the adjustment to bring it up a little bit, but a good eye by Autumn Gillespie to take that pitch and know her zone.
Hey. 2-1. Well, we mentioned with Williams, her last start, the 3-hitter against Georgia. The start prior to that was against Tennessee in game 1 of the doubleheader. She beat Ashley Rogers. Carter Spexharth had a 2-run double in the 5th inning of that game. Williams went the distance, just gave up 1 run. Let's take a look at Jamie Traxel down coaching third, and it's 2-2. So Williams coming off back-to-back good starts. Little bit of a challenge here early. Control trouble walking Smith, but battling back against Gillespie. 2-2. Round to third. They'll just get the force. for the first out of the first.
It's a great out pitch by Emily Williams. She got back into the count against Gillespie, ended up finding her screwball, and then the out pitch was going to be an off-speed drop ball. Her changeup, it's about 57 miles an hour, and it got Autumn Gillespie way out in front. Montana Davidson makes a good decision to get the force out at 2. Can't turn 2, but big out.
Paige Cook wisely holding on to it with Gillespie running hard down the line. Here's Jessica Puck. Foul ball. Well, Samantha Ricketts told us about Emily Williams. When you see soft contact, and we saw that with Gillespie on the 2-2 and a little bit with that first pitch to Puck, you know Williams is getting what she wants with her pitches, and maybe she's finding it a little bit here right now. That soft contact will be something to watch for.
And she definitely doesn't have as much speed as other pitchers on their pitching staff, like Loza or Willis. She pitches to her strength, which is a ton of spin, like that, 56 miles an hour, and you can just kind of see it float in there. It almost looks like what a wiffle ball would look like, where it's just tough to pick up as a hitter, the speed and the direction that pitch is going to go.
Heading the count 0-2 to Puck. That comes inside, and a mistake there by Williams, hitting Puck with the 0-2 pitch, so 2 on with 1 out.
Yeah, Puck's been hit by 12 pitches this season. That'll be her 13th. Just gonna wear it, take that one for the team. It's on her elbow guard.
And again, that's fine right there. If you haven't been watching a lot of softball, she was in the batter's box. If she leaned in a little bit over the plate, then the umpire would say, you're going to stay right here, but she doesn't have to try to get out of the way if it's
in the batter's box.
Thrown into the box. Sydney Gutierrez, the senior cleanup hitter who plays first base, steps in with 2 on and 1 out. 1-1.
And this is an Ole Miss team that actually just played here in Tuscaloosa last weekend. Had a tough go against just a really hot Alabama team that's playing with a lot of momentum and just a lot of consistency right now. So they ended up losing 3 in a row in that series. They got swept.
Popped up foul ground. Mia Davidson tosses the mask. And this is the pressure you talk about, putting it on Mississippi State. A mistake there, as Gillespie took a 2-step bluff like she was going to tag up. She wasn't going anywhere, but she just went far enough to make Mississippi State throw the ball, and it turns into a throwing error, so 2nd and 3rd with 2 out.
Autumn Gillespie is going to take a hard 5-6 steps off of second base to force that throw. A bit of an unnecessary throw by Mia Davidson, but you know the scouting report as a team coming into this game, Ole Miss knows that Mississippi State is not one of the best defensive teams in the SEC or in the country. They're going to put pressure on them to make plays, to make throws.
Scored an error on the throw to Mia Davidson. Error number 72 on the season for Mississippi State as a team, as her sister Montana couldn't handle it at third base. Abby Latham, senior right fielder, 287 on the season. Alabama native with 6 homers and 30 runs batted in. Fouls it off, it's 0-2.
You know, Eric, we were just talking about Ole Miss getting swept by Alabama, and, you know, postseason or the NCAA tournament is on the horizon. If I'm Ole Miss, I don't want to go into the NCAA tournament on a 4-game losing streak. I want to win this game. This game matters to the energy, to the confidence of your team going to the most important weekend of the season.
Popped up again. Davidson will run out of room. Well, I thought when we talked to Jamie Traxel before the series, she put a pretty positive spin on that Alabama series. She, even though they got swept, she thought, in her words, they needed to feel the weight of a heavyweight fighter putting pressure on you. And yeah, Alabama's heavyweight. And they've won 10 in a row, and they've won a national championship. And she thought it was good to kind of be in that fight against one of the best teams in the country.
Yeah, and it's an Ole Miss team that has they've gotten better every single weekend. They've been tested, but they've found ways to grow. They've, along the way, defined things that were important to them, and their entire team has been able to buy in. But it was a tough last weekend against Alabama. That's why you want to win this game. It's a rivalry. It's the SEC tournament. I mean, you want to win an SEC championship before even going into regionals, and you definitely, I'll just talk about it probably the entire game, you don't want to go into regionals on a 4-game lose streak.
Latham, a player who did well against Alabama, was 4 for 8 in that series at the plate, battling here against Williams. Ball scoops up and it comes right back to Davidson. Most times a pitch like that scoop is not possible, or blocking it is a little tough, and a run would have scored after the earlier error, but Davidson, good battle behind the plate to keep it in front. Another one fouled out of play by Latham. Anna Borgen gave up a couple of runs in the first, watching here in the dugout, hoping her teammates can get at least one back here. And it's a fly ball, hit deep to right center field, drifting back and reaching down to make the catch is Chloe Malaulu. Well, she's an SEC all-defensive team selection. Had to work a little harder for that one than I think she thought. 2-0 after one.
Mississippi State has talked about grit. That's been the reason behind the turnaround, but I think it also might have a little bit to do with their student manager, Parker Gray, who they lovingly call LP, Lil Parker. He has been doing splits since the beginning of since the second game in the South Carolina series, and they have won that every game since. He has done splits before all 7 games that they have won in this run.
Well, LP definitely does not stand for lacking personality, because Parker stuck the landing there.
Well, you do splits before all of our games,
yeah,
and
I do.
just really get our crew together. So maybe you and LP have a little.
I just think it's great. I mean, my warm-up routine is a little bit longer than it used to be. Here's a ground ball through the left side and a lead-off single for Jackie McKenna. And I think, Parker can get back up. I don't know if that's happening for any of us. Another good start for Mississippi State here. Remember, they had 3 singles to start the first inning, and now McKenna, the number 8 hitter, gets going with a single.
Another pitch inside to these right-handed hitters, and another hit on an inside pitch.
Number 9 hitter Montana Davidson, senior third baseman, steps in. Davidson at .255 in the season with 3 homers and 19 runs batted in. Two and 0. Davidson sisters, a couple of players who go all out. Certainly saw that during the Georgia series. Montana was apparently laying down a sacrifice bunt, but wasn't satisfied with it. Ran all out to first, head first slide. Helmet went flying, covered her face for a little while, but hustle play like that has kind of summed up how Mississippi State's been playing here in these last few weeks. There's a strike, it's 3-1.
And I think that's just how they've always played, too. I think that it gets a little bit more attention because they're on this win streak, they're on this turnaround, but especially for Montana and me at Davidson, I mean, they play so hard, they care so much passion for the game.
3-2. Now, Samantha Ricketts said this team hadn't quit even when they were 0-13 on the season. And as you talked about before, it's easy to do that sometimes, but they kept fighting through because they were in a lot of games. They just weren't winning. They'd make an error, and that would kind of unravel things. just told each other, we're better than this. So now they're relaxed and playing their game, and now they've got 2 on with nobody out here in the second.
Their game today has been a game of adjustments against Anna Borgen with their right-handed hitters. It started off with Mala'ulu hitting at the leadoff spot, and then down to Leilua and Spexarth. All of these inside pitches up and in on their hands, and even the last hit that they had in this inning to lead it off, another inside pitch by McKenna. These right-handed hitters have a plan. They have an approach. It's to attack that inside pitch. They're even stepping out a little bit toward third base to get their barrel to it.
So a single and a walk to the 8 and 9 hitter, back to the top of the order. And how about Mala'ulu going with the bunt, the sacrifice to get runners to second and third here in the second.
And I think the thing that's making it tough right now for Anna Borgen and for Riker Chase and their pitching coach to call pitches is that the outside corner, she's struggling to find to these right-handed hitters. So as a hitter, really the only thing that you need to worry about being thrown for a strike is the inner half, is that curveball that is going to be coming in on your hands.
Gillespie's going to go out and chat with Borgen. Quick little talk here. I wonder with first base open, how aggressive they are around the strike zone here with Leilua. Now, it's not like it gets easier after that because you've got Spexarth and Davidson who have combined for 76 runs batted in. Ball. She'll skip that one up there for ball 1. Leilua singled and scored the Bulldogs' second run in the first inning.
Yeah, I don't really think that they're going to give her much to hit. Not going to be an intentional walk, but one of those intentional walks. Like, hey, if you want to get yourself out on this changeup that's in the dirt, feel free to. And even that it sounded good. It's a really powerful foul ball, but that's a curveball that's just so far off the plate that if she swings at it, you can't do anything with it.
See, Leilua is accustomed to being walked second in the NCAA. It's a pretty good pitch, and Leilua would like to have that one back. A little surprised by it, maybe.
Yeah. Looked like a backdoor curveball, too. It started outside, then broke back across the outside corner, back toward right down the middle.
Here's the 3-2. Oh, line drive and tagging the bag and getting it out for the double play will retire the side. Leilua hit it hard, but hit it to the exact wrong spot on the field. It's where Paige Smith was standing.
It's just such bad luck for Leilua, but Paige Smith was in the perfect spot right there by third base. She had to move her right foot like an inch. Double play to get out of it with runners in scoring position. Array has been 1.71 and about 50 innings pitched coming into this game.
Yeah, opponents hitting 225 in that stretch. Well, Ole Miss has come out pretty well in these first 2 innings because Borgen had the bases loaded with nobody out, ended up giving up 2 runs. I know that isn't a win, but it felt like a win with how Mississippi State was putting the pressure on. And then second and third with 1 out, Leilua hits it on the screws, but right at Paige Smith, who had to just step on the bag to get the double play. Six, 7, and 8 for Ole Miss here against Emily Williams in the second. Blaze Behringer, freshman second baseman, leads things off. Sends one out to the center fielder, Mala'ulu, one away. We've got SEC baseball Friday night on the SEC Network. First of a 3-game series Number 2, Vanderbilt. Number 18, Ole Miss. You'll see it at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. SEC Baseball also available on the ESPN app. You can watch it anywhere. Ball 1 to Gabby Alvarez. Alvarez, senior DP at 246 on the season, a couple of home runs, 9 runs batted in. There's a strike, it's 1-1. Amanda talked about it at the very top of our telecast about how not much was expected for Ole Miss in Jamie Traxel's first year. That's nothing against Jamie Traxel. Had great success in Minnesota. We saw that in what they did in the NCAA tournament. But she headed down and took over a job and inherited a team of a lot of veteran players. She was hired April 24th of 2020. So, I mean, I can think of better times than during a global pandemic to start a new job in a new conference.
Yep.
But she is the 3rd head coach that many of these Ole Miss players have played for. So there was just a lot of uncertainty, a lot of unknown, but you go up and down this Ole Miss lineup. There's so many seniors. They stuck with it. They believed in her. She, by extension, believed in them. And here they are, 12-12 in the SEC this year, and the number 8 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I saw them at the beginning of the season, and one of the biggest things that she had stressed of what their coaching staff was relaying to their team is just consistency across the board in every single aspect of the game. And all about, she's a coach that pays attention to a ton of little things. She's all about great discipline, doing the right thing, treating people with respect, and just instilling this expectation of how all these little details are going to be panned out, and the importance of their team to pay attention to the little details. And that's why I think she's such a good defensive coach too, is because defense is all about the little things.
3-2. Called strike 3. Williams gets the strikeout her first. Alvarez retired for round number 2.
This freezes Alvarez here with a low rise ball right there about belt high. Has so much spin. Just it's so fun to watch Emily Williams pitch because she truly is so crafty, elite spin, and you can just see it when you really watch her ball head toward the plate.
Strike 1 to Michaela Alley, the shortstop. Number 8 hitter at 194. Outstanding defensively for Ole Miss. Ball.
And talking about Jamie Traxel too, Eric, it's, she's been at several different places. She was at North Dakota State as an assistant or associate head coach for forever, and then went to Iowa State very quickly, and then just for a hot minute. And then she headed to Minnesota, where she took the team to the Women's College World Series, was there for just a few years, and then headed here to Ole Miss. But the funny part is, it seems like she moves around a lot, but she was at North Dakota State for a really long time and did a tremendous job with that program.
It's 2-2. Oh, we said to her this week, it's your 55th week on the job here at Ole Miss. When you put it in those terms, it's not very long. And when we asked her if she's surprised how well things have gone, she just said, just come in and work hard. You don't put any expectations on things. You don't talk about what's hard and what's challenging. You just go out and play every day, and that's what they've done, and they've done it well. Grounded to third. Montana Davidson knocks it down onto Leilua at first. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Emily Williams. Mississippi State up after 2. Half of the third inning, game number 1 of 4 here today. Mississippi State and Ole Miss getting us started here at Rhodes Stadium. Anna Borgen getting ready to work against Mississippi State. Well, you see some of the teams now making an appearance. Well, Missouri's been here since before the tournament started. They were anxious to get here. There's Florida, the #1 seed, regular season co-champions in the SEC. As the sun fully comes out here, you know, it's got to be a Florida thing. I mean, it's sunny in Gainesville right now, so we show the Florida team and the sun comes out. That's how it works.
I didn't think we were going to see this today, so I'm very happy to see blue skies and sun and squinting.
Ball. Carter Spexarth leads it off for Mississippi State here in the third. 3-4-5 for the Bulldogs. Winner of this game takes on LSU. Tigers were just sitting out in center field a moment ago, but they're going to head out and get their work in. Getting ready to take on South Carolina.
It's a better location there by Anna Borgen for that curveball, just right there at the knees, a little bit off the plate, but it catches the front side. Like, it looks like the catcher catches it off the plate, but it does cross the plate at the very front.
Swung on and hit deep to left field, way back and way out of here. Carter Spexarth goes deep. Mississippi State on top 3-0.
Mississippi State, with their right-handed hitters, has had an approach and they're sticking with it. Inside pitch, definition of barreled up, hits a sweet part of the bat. She gets her hands there. She's behind the ball, full extension to the left side. So much power by the senior. Carter Spexarth is continuing to stick with that inner half approach and hunt it.
How good did that look, and how good must that have felt? Because Spexarth got all of it. It wasn't a Leilua quality bat flip. It was the very confident toss up towards the dugout. Spexarth, home run number 11 on the season for Mississippi State. They're 65th as a team, and they stretch it out to a 3-0 lead.
You know, I think especially coming into this season, Eric, Carter Spexarth is a player on their team that really got overlooked because she doesn't have that All-American name like Mia Davidson, Fale Lua, but even Coach Ricketts had said coming into this season and throughout that she's been a huge part of our success.
Popped up on the infield, and the third baseman Gutierrez calls off Behringer for out number 1. So now second most in school history for the Bulldogs, and with 65 home runs, and that's the first home run of the SEC tournament. Ball. Addison Purvis, who drove in a run with a ground out to short in the first. Hit! 1-1. So Spexarth is 2 for 2 today. She's now 7 of 15 over these last 6 games. Fly ball to left field. It's Puck, 2 down.
You know, I think, Eric, too, there's a lot that you can talk about and that you can sort through the stats whenever a team is on a win streak, because you just dive into the stats and say, all right, how is this happening? Is it their pitching? Is it their defense? Is it their offense? And for Mississippi State, you know, I feel like everything has just kind of risen up. They've become more competitive in every aspect of the game. But coming into this game on that 7-game win streak, outscoring their opponents 13-0 in the first inning. Now you add those 2 runs that they've scored in this game. They're a team that is confidently attacking and coming out aggressive early in the games. So if they were to win this game, it'd be an 8-game win streak, outscoring their opponents 15-0 in the first inning.
Well, we've seen the hitting so far. 5 hits, including a home run for Mississippi State. You talked about the pitching during the 7-game winning streak, which I think may be the most important piece with the 1.71 earned run average and opponents hitting .225. We talked about the fielding problems, and we've seen that here today. During the 7-game winning streak, Mississippi State has committed 12 errors. You would think, well, that many errors in a 7-game span, you're not going to win 7 games, but they have not let those errors multiply into bigger problems. And that was the issue earlier in the season for Mississippi State. In the words of Samantha Ricketts, they would unravel. They played pretty well against Florida in the series, made a couple of errors, they unraveled. But later in the season, they haven't let those errors compound themselves, and that's been a big part of their success. And another hit for Mississippi State. It's Paige Cook with a solid single to right field.
Two-strike hitting here for Paige Cook. She gets a pitch on the outer half, and you have to open up your zone a little bit with 2 strikes, be able to protect the plate. Borgen tries to work the opposite side of the plate instead of coming in. She goes away, and Paige Cook is just right there on it, being able to go with it.
Here's Madison Kennedy, who flied out to left her first time. This one is hit hard to left and into the glove of Puck to retire the side, but Carter Spexarth left, no doubt, leaving the yard here at the Rhodes House.
Make it 11 for Carter Spexarth on a 2-1 count, hitter's count. She was ready to go and extends the lead for Mississippi State.
So, what's your story?
And set.
Cook with the quick play over to first to retire Tate Whitley for out number 1. That's 6 in a row retired by Emily Williams. Christian Quinn moves into right field in place of Spexarth. Spexarth had not been playing a lot in the field in the first half of the season, but in order to get Addison Purvis's left-handed bat into the lineup, Spexarth had to go out into the field, and now with the 3-0 lead as we play in the bottom half of the 3rd inning, they'll get a little defense out there. Montana Davidson waits on it, and it is grabbed at first by Leilua. 2 down.
There's some good defense, Eric, for Mississippi State. Montana Davidson right there by the bag. That ball had a lot of spin to it, a long throw for her, but the pick by Fa Leilua on the short hop, just being such a good teammate that she is, points right to Montana Davidson, like, I got your back, girl, don't even worry about it.
Ball. It's amazing how things change for a team as Gillespie takes ball 1. Mississippi State just seems so much more relaxed.
Yeah.
Now, the winning fuels that, and you get a 3-0 lead here in the SEC tournament, and like, wow, that 7-game winning streak, we could stretch it to 8 here if we keep going here. It's 2-0 now to Gillespie. And you can tell a team to relax, just relax and you'll play better, but that's hard to do until you see results, until you start getting wins, until the bounces start going your way. It's tough to get to that point, but they are a relaxed group having a lot of fun right now and picking each other up.
And I'm going to be honest, I saw both of these teams play actually in Austin in February. They came into the University of Texas and played in a tournament. Actually, it was just a tournament around Central Texas. But anyway, Mississippi State was playing well. And so I had seen them play and saw what they were capable of. Lost some really close games, had some calls that didn't go their way that weekend. And so then I saw their SEC record and had been following them, and it just, to me, it wasn't reflective of the type of team that they are and that they can be and that they should be with all the veterans and all the talent that they have in the circle and at the plate.
A 2-out walk to Autumn Gillespie. She's aboard here in the 3rd. It's not like Mississippi State was ducking teams as well. They had a SEC series against Tennessee that was postponed because of COVID-19 issues for the Lady Vols. So Samantha Ricketts tried to add a game. And do you know what team she added when they were looking for a game?
I think I might know.
Her alma mater, number 1 Oklahoma.
But I was. It's so funny that you said that, Eric, because I was just going through their schedule as we're playing this game, and Coach Ricketts had told us, she played for Patty Gasso, and they ended up picking up that extra game. She had told us that Coach Gasso said, "Why haven't you called me yet?" She's leaned a lot on some mentors of her and got some support. And Coach Gasso said, why haven't you called me yet for some advice? And so I looked to that game as maybe a last minute kind of blessing in disguise for them, right? Did they, we don't know this for sure, but did they hop on the phone? Did they see each other? Did they get to have just a little bit of get together time that where Coach Gasso could help Samantha Ricketts?
Ball. Oklahoma won that game, but the way that Samantha put it, it's like, yeah, when Tennessee was off that schedule this week, we had to find some games. You know, like, yeah, let's just like find a pickup game against a team that at that point was undefeated and rolling through everything. But to be the best, you got to play the best, right?
That's right.
It's a strike. 2-2 now to Jessica Puck, who was hit by a pitch in the first. Oh. 3-2. There goes the runner. Good throw down, but not in time. And Gillespie steals a base. That is the 46th stolen base for Ole Miss this season.
And most of the starting lineup with 10 stolen bases for the catcher, Autumn Gillespie, who also went second to third and took an extra 60 feet earlier in this game too on a pop-up to Mia Davidson, the catcher.
So Gillespie now 10 for 10 on the season. 3-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Williams gets the call. Strikeout number 2, and Samantha Ricketts' team up 3-0. We'll hear from her when we come back. Keep swinging it. 8-9-1 for Mississippi State here in the top half of the 4th inning on top 3-0. Jackie McKenna to lead off against Anna Borgen. Ground ball to Allie at short. 1 away.
You know, she's somebody who I feel like is an underrated shortstop, Michaela Allie for Ole Miss. She just has been so solid. She's only committed 3 errors this entire season. One of the unsung heroes for Ole Miss. So when you talk to Coach Traxel, she was one of the first players that she mentioned was Michaela Allie.
Third baseman, number 32, Montana Davidson.
As we mentioned, Ole Miss has been good in the field this year in support of their deep pitching staff. 4th fewest errors committed in the SEC as Montana Davidson takes ball 1. Davidson walked in the second. Ball 2-0. It's 2-1. Montana, the older of the 2 Davidson sisters. Montana missed the 2018 season with a knee injury. They were part of the senior class that was honored on the field with graduation ceremonies last weekend before Game 2 of the Georgia series. They were on the road at South Carolina during graduation ceremonies in Starkville, so the Mississippi State administration brought the graduation ceremony to them before the game against Georgia, so they didn't have the caps and gowns on because they were getting ready to play, but they had their sashes on and got called up, presented their diplomas. Another ground ball to Allie. 2 down as Montana Davidson is retired. Well, set your calendars for Tuesday, 10 o'clock Eastern time. SEC Inside will give you an all-access pass to this SEC softball tournament. You'll see never-before-seen footage, sights and sounds from the semifinals and championship game right here on the SEC Network and also on the ESPN app. There's strike 1 to Mala'ulu, who singled and scored in the first, sacrificed in the second. That's the beautiful thing I think about. Here we are Wednesday. This was an 11 a.m. Central Time start, 4 games today. We really have no idea how this tournament's going to unfold. I mean, It is such a wide open tournament, so many talented teams. Obviously, the SEC will be well represented as they always are in the NCAA tournament, but playing in such a strong conference, there's that pride and wanting to be the SEC champion, and Or could it be a Mississippi State that's playing their best softball of the season? Will it be Arkansas, who just won their first SEC regular season title? Will it be the walk-off Queens from Florida who do it again and again? So there are some great storylines, some great teams here in Tuscaloosa. It'll just be exciting and fun to watch it all unfold this week. Called strike 3. Borgen gets Malauulu looking to retire the side. We will talk to Jamie Traxel, the Ole Miss head coach, after the break.
A walk, like, we'll take that just because obviously they have an explosive offense, but not try to make it more than it is. Keep it simple. Let the ball dictate where we're going with our out and just try to minimize the damage.
Are you telling your girls to be aggressive against this Mississippi defense, knowing that they're kind of lower at the conference with fielding percentage?
We're trying to, we know that's something that if we can pressure the defense, they're susceptible to maybe giving us some free passes, and we're looking to take advantage of that. We did it on a base running play too to get them to throw the ball away. So our job is to go up there, be aggressive, and we got to pressure the defense and force them to make some plays.
All right, thanks, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Jalen. Thank you, Jamie. Well, it starts with getting a hit. They have not been able to get a hit yet against Emily Williams as Ole Miss comes to the plate here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Sydney Gutierrez, cleanup hitter to lead off. She fouled out to the catcher in the first. Williams with her 55th pitch, and it's a soft fly ball out the left field, moving over and diving and unable to make the catch is McKenna. And there is the first hit for Ole Miss. It's a leadoff double for Gutierrez here in the 4th.
Really like to see Sydney Gutierrez aggressive early in the count. At one point, there were 30 strikes against Ole Miss. 15 of them were called strikes, taking a lot of pitches. So Gutierrez comes up swinging early, drives it to the left field gap. Good effort by Jackie McKenna to lay out for that ball. But an easy double for Gutierrez, who is fired up to get this offense going.
So Kelsha Lofton will come on to run for Gutierrez.
Number 32, Kelsha Lofton. At the plate, right fielder number 30, Abby Latham.
Here's Abby Latham. Strike 1 to Latham, who's been the best hitter for Ole Miss over the last couple of weeks. 8 for her last 20 over 7 games, including today. Flied out to center in the first. Fouled out of play, and Latham's down in the count 0-2. Ole Miss had second and third with 2 outs in the first inning. Latham flied out to end the inning, then a 1-2-3 inning in the second. A walk in the third did not hurt Williams. A leadoff double from Gutierrez getting things going here in the 4th. Popped up, back behind the plate, and out of play. Latham, the senior from Livingston, Alabama, came into the game at 287 on the season. Another 0-2 pitch from Emily Williams on the way. This one is hit to left field and hit well, and it's off the wall on the fly. Lofton had the hold for the moment. Now she's caught between home and third in a rundown. Davidson gets the tag, then it gets away from the third baseman, but holding at third is Latham. After all that, a runner at third and 1 out for Ole Miss. Base running mistake for the Rebels, costly.
Yep. Tough break here for Ole Miss and a base running mistake. First of all, good piece of hitting by Latham to barrel up a pitch with 2 strikes. Almost gets it out of here. Good relay by McKenna to bring it into Montana Davidson. It's Lofton who just was indecisive, decides halfway that she's going to stop. Latham still ends up on third base. A good base running by her to get there.
So a mistake for Ole Miss, team that when they've been at their best this year hasn't made many mistakes. We'll see if it costs them a run here. Latham at third with 1 out, and Williams trying to work out of the jam. Scored a double for Latham. Ball. 2-1. Behringer flied out to center in the second. Popped up, shallow left field. I don't know if it's deep enough. It is not, but the throw gets away. And now here comes the runner, and Ole Miss will take advantage of a throwing error by Mississippi State to get on the board. It's 3-1 Bulldogs.
Now, you heard Coach Traxel talk about it, and you heard Jalen ask her about it, just putting pressure on the defense of Mississippi State. Latham doesn't even give a hard sell at third base, just a couple of steps off. McKenna throws it all the way in, and it's a clear errant throw. Latham sees it, going to be able to score easy on that. But it seems like when you make Mississippi State make that extra throw, make any throws, they're likely to commit a mistake, and Ole Miss is able to capitalize on it.
Where should that throw have gone, Amanda, instead of over home plate on the fly? Should Davidson have come off third base a little bit just to say, look, let's keep it simple here?
Everybody will do different cuts and relays with who they have cover. Montana Davidson could have been right there to cut it if McKenna would have thrown a lower throw, one-hopped it to the catcher, but given Montana Davidson the opportunity to cut it so it didn't go in all the way.
So a throwing error on McKenna goes in the books as a fly out to left field. No RBI for Behringer. The run scores on an error, so it's an unearned run for Ole Miss. Ball. Alvarez struck out looking in the second. One and two. Foul tip into the glove of Mia Davidson. Strikeout number 3 for Williams, and that will do it.
She's had a really good season. She'll come from the right-hand side and try to follow her up. Oftentimes will come in behind Anna Borgen because of the different look that she gives.
So this one is also out of play. Now 1 and 2. Diedrich making her 29th appearance. It was Borgen's 31st appearance. Ava Tillman, a senior, has made 24 appearances. Good staff for Ole Miss this year. Getting them to the number 8 seed here in this tournament.
That's her pitching coach right there with the red hat, Riker Chasen, right next to Coach Traxel, who'll call the pitches and can also pitch himself and mimic a lot of the opponent's pitchers that they're going to face. So oftentimes they'll use him at practice.
Fly ball to left field. It'll be in play for Puck. 1 down.
She didn't get all of that, but Carter Spexarth in her last at bat got everything out of this curveball. Up and in on her hand, she squares it up perfectly. She's connected with her barrel and her body, and it led to 240 feet of distance and just a no-doubter off the bat of her.
That cleared everything and then some as Spexarth steps in 2 for 2 today. Spexarth now with 11 home runs this season. Little soft liner to right center field, and Carter Spexarth is 3 for 3 here in Mississippi State's first game in the SEC tournament. You heard earlier when Samantha Ricketts was talking with Jalen Johnson about Carter Spexarth, sometimes she gets lost in the shuffle between Fale Lua and Mia Davidson, who's coming up to bat. Ball 1 to Mia Davidson, who stretched her on-base streak to 15 games with a walk in the first. That walk came with the bases loaded. Brought in the first run for Mississippi State. Allison Florian is the pinch runner at first for the Bulldogs. Now to play 1 and 2. Mississippi State took the final 2 games against South Carolina, that series in Columbia. And they swept a doubleheader from nationally ranked Tennessee, and then swept a 3-game series from nationally ranked Georgia. 7 straight wins for the Bulldogs coming into Tuscaloosa. And this was a team that seemed destined to finish in last place in the SEC for the first half of the season, that they were going to play in that first round game on Tuesday. But not only did they play themselves into the number 9 seed, they played themselves into the NCAA tournament field as well.
Yeah, good 2-strike hitting for Mia Davidson. Gets a pitch that's out over the plate, and she just barrels it up and drives it to left field. So much power for her, uses every single inch of that left field line, gets herself into second, looks back at her dugout, and just is fired up with a ton of emotion. You can tell that Mississippi State is having so much fun playing the game and just playing with a lot of passion.
First plate appearance for Christian Quinn, who came into the game defensively for Spexarth in right field. And Jamie Traxel is going to come out, and looks like she'll have a conversation here. We take a look at the bracket while they talk things over. South Carolina with a win yesterday, 3-1 over Auburn. That earns the Gamecocks a spot in our matchup with LSU. And Michaela Alley is getting some attention here. That's why we have a stoppage in play, as I brought her a cup of water. I didn't see if she just got a little dehydrated or called for time. Dee Brooks is the athletic trainer for Ole Miss. So Allie seems to be fine. Gonna get a snack too. So maybe the sugar came down a little bit. So got to keep it up here. I saw her just on her knee, and you know, when time was called, I didn't know if it was going to be a circle visit, but obviously just needing a moment here to fuel up a little bit. So we can chat for a second here about what's to come. LSU and South Carolina. And LSU is a team that just kept finding a way to win series this year. South Carolina found a way to win yesterday. And we know that one of the big moments from yesterday's game from South Carolina in their win over Auburn was this play at first base with Kayla Drotar going back in the bag. Her cleat came up and hit Justice Perry in the head. Drotar, I'm sure you've seen it, but this is what happened. She was carried off on a stretcher, brought to a local hospital via an ambulance. Jalen Johnson has been getting information for us about KK's status. And Jalen, what do you know?
She is actually here in the stadium today. She did travel here with the team, and she is dressed. They said it's going to be a game time decision on whether she plays or not, but she is here with her team.
Well, that's very good news, Jalen. Thank you for the update. So that game coming up about 35 minutes after the conclusion of this game. Strike one to Quinn. So Allie stays in the game. Seems fine right now. And Quinn with her first plate appearance down in the count 0-1.
Yeah, I think in that upcoming game, Eric, between LSU and South Carolina, each team has a little extra something to play for in terms of NCAA postseason coming up and trying to find a regional. LSU feels like they could have an outside shot of grabbing a top 8 seed with the strength of schedule that they've played, which of course you want to grab that top 8 seed. They're likely to host, and if they were a top 8 seed and host, then they would be able to host a super regional at home in Tiger Park. And South Carolina looking to play to get into the tournament, get another win to secure a spot.
Quinn with a line drive to center field. Late tagging up was the pinch runner Florian, so she has to head back to third and hold there after Whitley got it in quickly. 2 down.
Nice hit, Quinn.
Yeah, you said it. Florian did get back late, took a couple of steps because it was more of that line drive. So she took a couple of steps toward home plate, but runner at third base, ball goes to the outfield. Your job is just to get back to third base to tag if it looks like that the outfielder is going to be able to catch it, and you can tag and be able to get home. Because the thing is, Eric, whenever you go on a sacrifice fly like that, the outfielder has to make a good throw. The catcher has to make a catch. Then she has to make a good tag. You have so many different things that could go wrong defensively that put you in a position to score and get in.
You saw Tyler Bratton, the third base coach, look like instructing Florian, get back, but by that time it was too late after taking those first 2 steps towards home plate. So second and third, 2 down now for Mississippi State, just to tie up South Carolina.
Yeah.
To your point, if they're going to get into the NCAA tournament, a win against LSU, who's #1 in strength of schedule in the country, so a high RPI as well, would go a long way to helping the Gamecocks.
Yeah.
So that'll be a very important game for South Carolina coming up after this game. There's a strike to Paige Cook. Cook's 1 for 2, singled in the third. South Carolina beating Auburn yesterday. 3-1 was the final. Kenzie McGuire 2 for 2, 2 walks, 2 runs, a run batted in. Fly ball looks to be playable right side for Gutierrez in foul ground. She has it to retire the side. Mississippi State 3, Ole Miss 1, heading to the bottom of the 5th. Regular season in Gainesville, not one but 2 walk-off homers for Florida. The second one from Julia Cottrell gave Florida a share of the SEC regular season championship. Charlotte Eccles had a walk-off earlier in the season. So Florida, with those 2 walk-offs, they were the only team to win each of their SEC series this season. Arkansas had wrapped up a share of the regular season title with a win over LSU the previous Monday. Alabama, hottest team in the SEC right now with a 10-game winning streak. Missouri, the number 4 seed, a team that can really swing the bats. So those top 4 all getting ready to play tomorrow here at the SEC tournament in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, so the winner of this game will get to take on the 1 seed, the Gators. And that's what I was saying before, is that Coach Ricketts had said, you know, we kind of get to relive the beginning of our SEC season because we played Ole Miss in our first series and then we played Florida. And in the tournament, we play Ole Miss first, and then if we win, we play Florida.
So pinch hitter getting set to come up for Ole Miss. It's going to be Casey Vitvedt, senior from Washington State, will hit for Michaela Alley. Now, Alley could re-enter, but you wonder if they've decided, well, maybe something's not right for her right now. So we'll see what happens in the next half inning if she's back in the field. Again, one of the top defensive players in the SEC.
Leading off the bottom of the 5th inning for Ole Miss, number 17, Casey Vitvedt.
So Vitvedt to lead things off against Emily Williams. We'll talk more about Florida tomorrow, but they needed to win all 3 games against Texas A&M to, 1, get a share of the regular season title, and 2, the number 1 seed, because they got that on a tiebreaker. Vitvedt swinging a miss for strike 1. So everything had to fall into place just right for the Gators, but you know, we've seen it with Florida through the years. They play to the last out. They are the walk-off champs.
I know, and they just play with so much consistency. They don't beat themselves. They've got a great defense, a complete pitching staff this year, and just some leaders up at the plate that continue to come through in the late innings for them. Of course, I go back to Hannah Adams' home run at the top of the 7th in Columbia, Missouri, against Missouri the weekend before playing A&M, which was just a pivotal home run, a pivotal hit for them to be able to contend next weekend against A&M and be able to put themselves in a position to share the title.
Of course, Florida has won the last 2 SEC tournaments, 5 tournament titles in all. No team has ever won 3 straight. And we'll get a chance to see Alabama coming up tomorrow. Vitvedt lays off. Amanda brought up the stat that Alabama fans don't want to hear. The host team is 0 for their last 6 in their first game in the SEC tournament. Williams gets the strikeout, her 4th. 1 away. A reminder, SEC baseball coming up Friday night. Big game on the SEC Network. Game 1 of the 3-game series between number 2 Vanderbilt and 18th ranked Ole Miss. You can see it at 7 o'clock Eastern time. Also on the ESPN app. Take it wherever you are. Here's Tate Whitley, her second at-bat. She grounded up out to second in the 3rd in her first at-bat. Emily Williams has given up 1 unearned run. That is it. She has been outstanding as of late for Mississippi State, going the distance in her last 2 starts. Giving up just 3 earned runs in her previous 2 starts. Ball. 2-0.
Yeah, she's been doing a great job just continuing to spin the pitch. She's not going to overpower you with her speed, but she has such great spin on her rise ball, on her screwball, and is able to change speeds too with a good off-speed pitch.
Ball.
And she's been able to go the distance too, Eric. Last 3 starts have all been complete games.
4-pitch walk to Whitley with 1 out here in the 5th. 3rd walk issued by Williams.
Third baseman number 9, Paige Smith.
Back to the top of the order for Ole Miss. Here's Paige Smith. Walked in the 1st, grounded the 3rd in the 3rd.
Oh, you good?
Come on. Hey, nice spot. Come on, Blue. Come on, Blue. Thank you.
1-1.
New superstition?
I believe it's the Rally Zinnia.
I just don't know where some of these teams find this stuff. You know, like how do you just decide, all right, this is going to be the flower? There's always a story, Eric, always a story for the Rally flower or whatever it's, what did you call it?
Zinnia. I've got quite the expertise in all things floral. If things get out of hand here, well, of course, yes, you gotta. And I may be completely wrong, but I can throw out dahlia, zinnia. I think it's a zinnia. Well, look, they've got their student manager doing an uncomfortable, painful-looking split before each game because they think that sets the tone for them. So when you've won 7 in a row, that works for you. If you're going to hold a flower in the dugout and you think that's going to make a difference, that works for you. This is the time of year where any edge possible, you grab it.
That is true.
Oh. 3-2 to Smith. 2 on for Ole Miss. Now keep in mind for Mississippi State, Alyssa Loza has been their go-to out of the bullpen when they need to close out games. She'll go multiple innings. She has really settled into that closer role.
Yeah, and Ole Miss offensively has had their chances. They've gotten some base runners on in every inning but one. I think the toughest inning for them was back in the 1st inning whenever they had 2 runners in scoring position, less than 2 outs, and couldn't get anything from it.
I think we're going to have the change right now. So Loza, who has been out, and now the pitching change here for Mississippi State. Alyssa Loza is on, a senior from North Torrance, California, who has been very good out of the bullpen for Mississippi State during this stretch run.
Yeah, Coach Ricketts was really bragging on her in the outings that she's had coming in relief. She's been able to throw hard, at times hit 72 miles an hour, has been just amped up, playing with adrenaline and harnessing that energy and that adrenaline in a good, productive way.
2 saves in the Georgia series, including 3 innings out of the bullpen on Sunday, didn't give up a hit. Gillespie fouls off the first pitch for strike 1.
And that first pitch was 72 miles an hour. She's going to throw so hard, 70 plus miles an hour. She'll work on the zone, drop and change, very comfortable in relief situations. She wants the ball. She wants to compete. She has such a great mentality to come out of the pen.
Ball. 1-1. Emily Williams goes 4 1/3. Giving up 2 hits. She's responsible for the 2 base runners on right now. Back-to-back walks given up to Whitley and Smith. Big spot here for Gillespie. Hacks it foul.
And she as well is just such a good compliment to to Emily Williams, who started this game for Mississippi State, because Williams all spin, being able to just sit around about 62, 63 miles an hour, 56 with her changeup. And then here you have Loza, who's just going to bring the heat.
Ball.
I see you, Mia.
Gillespie reached on a fielder's choice in the first, walked in the third. Came into this game hot at the plate, 6 for her last 17 over the final 6 games of the regular season. Gets away from the catcher, and moving up to third is Whitley. Moving up to second is Smith. Scored a pass ball on Davidson.
It's a tough transition as we have a pinch runner coming in for Ole Miss, Macy Keister. But it's a tough transition for Mia Davidson to go from catching somebody who's up and floaty, spinny, crafty spin that's more up in the zone with Williams to then 70 miles an hour, low in the zone, 71, 72. It's really, really hard for a catcher. I think that they don't get enough credit, especially in this day and age where you're not going to get as many complete games. You're not just going to have one ace on your staff. You are going to pitch more by committee.
So the freshman Keister running for Smith. She's the tying run at second base. 3-2 coming to Gillespie. Slapped out of play. Chopped too short. They come to the plate for the tag play, and Davidson's waiting. Gillespie now will cruise between first and second, trying to draw a throw, trying to put a little pressure on Mississippi State, but Davidson's not going to take the bait and hold on to it.
Atta girl, Loza.
And now Jamie Traxel will come down to talk to our plate umpire, Steve Gould.
Yeah, the issue here is that the runner at third base was just not
Great job, Mia. Great job.
right.
So the call is confirmed, no obstruction at the plate.
All right, Loza.
Challenge from Traxel is unsuccessful. Final look here as Amanda took you through it just a moment ago. Davidson in place. Good play by Mississippi State. They took advantage of Ole Miss trying to score. Made the throw, made the tag, got the out. Gillespie at second and Keister at third. Ball. And it's ball 1-2 Puck. Puck was hit by a pitch in the first, struck out in the third.
And you know, Eric, I think it was a good decision by Tate Whitley to go, but it was her late decision that I think ended up hurting her a little bit, because runner at third base, oftentimes you'll see this across the country, angled down, they're just anticipating a ball to get on the ground, and then you go. You're not looking to see where it went. You can't have that hesitation. She opened up towards the field and then decided to run. So that hesitation would have made the play closer, maybe would have put more pressure on Madison Kennedy to make a better throw. And we've talked about Ole Miss putting pressure on this Mississippi State defense to make plays. It gave Madison Kennedy too much time to feel comfortable to make that perfect throw to Davidson at home.
She goes on contact, could be safe. It was close. Popped up in on the hands, and coming in is Leilua. I think Loza was ready to field it, but Fa has been known to take control and they can hug it out. We all get along as long as of our 4 games here. Round 1 on a Wednesday. Top 6 and strike 1 from Diedrich. 7-8-9 for Mississippi State. Madison Kennedy to lead things off. Kennedy flied out to left in the first and again in the third.
You know, Eric, Ole Miss has had their chances
Sure
in
have.
this game. But at the same time, Mississippi State has had some extra chances too that they've left some runners on. So both teams just not been able to get that big hit to either get back into the game or extend the lead on Mississippi State's half.
Ball. Ole Miss has left 5 on base. Second and third in the first. Left a runner at second in the third. And left runners at second and third in the fifth. And to Amanda's point, Mississippi State has left 6 on board. Fly ball to foul ground and out of play. Bulldogs left runners on second and third in the first after they had scored 2 runs. Second and third again in the second. And second and third in the fifth. So both teams squandering some pretty good opportunities, and it has kept it a pretty low scoring game, 3-1. Two and two.
Good take. Here we go.
Another one out of play. We'll do it again. Kennedy, the sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama. Grounded back to the pitcher. Diedrich, 1 away. So we'll get our first look at LSU coming up in our next game, and then later tonight, Beth Mowens, Michelle Smith, and Jalen will take you through Texas A&M and Tennessee, and Georgia and Kentucky. A&M and Georgia, certainly 2 teams looking forward to the reset that postseason brings. Kentucky's been on a roll. They've won 6 in a row. You'll have your chance to see Kayla Kowalik, who all she's doing is hitting .509 on the season for the Wildcats.
Such a good year for her. It has that speed too. In fact, remember when Autumn Gillespie had that steal earlier? I think that she just had Kayla Kowalik in the back of her mind, thinking that she had the speed of her. Both play catcher. Both have some stolen bases this year. I mean, I'm just shocked, Eric, to see that Autumn Gillespie now has 10 stolen bases on the season.
Do you mean to tell me you did not pitch to fleet-footed catchers in your time at Texas A&M? Kayla can run, Autumn can run.
Yeah. And Autumn's tall too. She's over 6 foot tall.
I think your former teammates are saying, hey, come on now.
No, I actually don't think that they would be saying that, to be honest.
They know their strengths.
They know their strengths.
1-2 now to McKenna.
Go, Jackie.
McKenna singled in the second, grounded to short in the fourth. Ball.
Hey, way to work.
Borgen got the start, went the first 4, was relieved in the 5th by Diedrich. This Ole Miss team that came in with 34 wins on the season, 12 in conference play. Number 8 seeds trying to play a little catch-up here today. And the count goes full to McKenna. Popped up. Gillespie waits for it to come down and puts it away for out number 2.
That was in the air a long time.
Even this one, little. Hold on tight.
Gillespie on the all SEC defensive team.
Ball 1 to Montana Davidson. Walked in the second, grounded out to short in the fourth. The 1-0. Ball. Huh. 2-1. 3-1 is our score here between Ole Miss and Mississippi State. 3-1 was the final in game 1 of the tournament yesterday. Game that was moved up 3 hours because of wet weather that was expected to move in last night. It did rain pretty hard overnight, cleared out this morning. We've seen the sun here today. Forecasts looking promising as we go along, although some more clouds have moved in here this afternoon, but we're looking okay. Always something to keep an eye on with such a busy tournament. Trying to get 4 games in today, 4 tomorrow, 2 on Friday, 3-1. 2-out walk to Davidson. Second walk today issued to Montana Davidson. Back to the top of the order for Chloe Malauulu.
Yeah, and that means that it's the second walk of the 9-hole for Ole Miss pitching. One of the just cardinal rules. You don't want to walk that 9 spot and turn over the order, especially the 2 outs.
Malauulu singled and scored in the first, sacrificed in the second, struck out in the fourth. She was the last batter that Borgen faced before giving away to Diedrich. 0-2. Fly ball, foul ground, and heading out of play.
Let's go, Chloe.
Malauulu with 4 hits in the Georgia series, 3 RBI, sweep for Mississippi State. That propelled them to the number 9 seed here in this tournament. surprising to see that it's a 3-1 game. When you think of all the chances these two teams have had here today, it's just an unearned run for Ole Miss. 3 runs for Mississippi State. You can see with runners in scoring position, the teams have combined 2 for 14 with a combined 11 runners left on bases. And I went through a couple of moments ago, second and third for each team a couple of times left on base.
Yeah, a lot of free passes too that we're seeing, especially taken by Ole Miss. Or excuse me, taken by Mississippi State, my fault.
You know, we're playing a rivalry game here. I'm surprised that it took us to the 6th inning. Maybe I confused Ole Miss and Mississippi State but when that bracket came together, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. we get Ole Miss and Mississippi State here in round 1. I know for the fans of the two programs, there's no confusing the two teams. I understand that fully. Strikeout ends the half inning. Sydney Gutierrez, cleanup hitter, leading off for Ole Miss when we come back to Tuscaloosa.
Ole Miss only has 2 hits, and Gutierrez has one of them, a double back in the 4th. That was the only inning that Ole Miss has scored in this game.
As well, it's a great way to keep you loose during the middle of the innings as well. Amanda's excellent.
I don't know, I might overturn that call right there. I went to replay, and I don't want to lie to these people, Eric, but maybe tomorrow we'll do a little hacking.
Sounds great. I'm all about it. Here's Gutierrez. Slap foul. Down to the count 0-2. So some defensive changes now for Mississippi State. They will bring in Briley St. Clair, who is a very good defender for them in center field. Chloe Malauulu will move from center over to left. She played all 3 outfield positions at one time or another in the Georgia series, so it's not uncomfortable for her to move from center field to a corner outfield position. 0-2 to Gutierrez from Loza. Alyssa Loza has been outstanding out of the bullpen over these last 7 appearances. 7 games rather, in a 7-game winning streak. She's made 4 appearances. Back to the mound, and Loza will sprint it over to Leilua.
A little shrug of her shoulders, like, you know, whatever. I'm just going to get an out. Doesn't matter how it happens.
This is a team that's got some players that really show the emotion and the energy. Lowe's out of the bullpen. Of course, we've seen Leilua. I'm coming for you, Fa. I'm coming.
You're taught to do that if it's hit at you or toward the first base side. It's just easier to keep your feet moving and do a little underhand toss. It's not to say she's not capable of throwing overhand to first base by any means, but it's just an easier play for a pitcher. And again, when it's hit at you or toward the first base side, just take a couple of steps over that way, a nice little underhand toss.
Well, you know, we've seen pitchers through the years with pinpoint precision throwing 70 miles per hour and above. This is hit out to right field, and a good running grab by Christian Quinn to get there. Some good defense for the Bulldogs, 2 down.
Christian Quinn traveled so far to be able to get this ball. Look at where she is right here. Of course, my telly's not working. She came from so far to the right field line into the wall to be able to catch it. And I loved how she pumped her arms and then extended last minute. And of course, Alyssa Loza, who pitches with so much energy and passion, for sure loves the defense that she's seen out of her right fielder.
So Mississippi State late in the game trading out the offense for some defense. Christian Quinn in right field making a strong play. 2 down. 1-1 to Behringer, who's 0 for 2. Slap foul, Jamie Traxel hit the deck.
It's impressive what Mississippi State's pitching staff has been able to do in this game. They've just still only given up 2 hits. They've gotten themselves into a little bit of trouble with the free passes, but been able to shut down this Ole Miss lineup from producing a ton of runs. And in fact, the 2 hits that Ole Miss had were back in the 4th inning. They were back-to-back, and that's really been it for them.
Gutierrez and Latham with a couple of doubles. Error on the base pass for Ole Miss. Looked like it was going to help Mississippi State get out of the jam, but then a throwing error, one of 2 errors today for Mississippi State, allowed Ole Miss to score a run. Cook will take it herself. And the out is recorded as Behringer made contact, not Cook down. Everybody seems to be okay. And we'll move on to the 7th. Not without everybody lining up to congratulate Christian Quinn. Here's the final out.
Yeah, Blaze Behringer going down the first baseline ends up making contact with Cook, who's just headed toward the dugout.
Swung on and hit deep to left field, way back and way out of here. Carter Spexarth goes deep. That home run was estimated to have traveled 240 feet by the scientists in our truck who used geometry to make sure they had the number right. Carter Spexarth got all of it for her 11th home run of the season, came leading off the 3rd inning. Spexarth on deck. Fale Lua leads things off here in the top half of the 7th. Mississippi State 3, Ole Miss 1. Bulldogs have not trailed here today. Leilua pops it up behind the plate. Gillespie. 1 pitch, 1 down. Spexarth is 3 for 3. Singled in the first. That home run that we just showed you came in the 3rd, and then singled again in the 5th. Foul ball for strike 1. Mala'ulu has scored, Leilua has scored, Spexarth has scored, Davidson with an RBI.
I think they forgot to re-enter her before her at bat, and they're doing it now.
We saw Ricketts come out to talk to the plate umpire after the first pitch to Spexarth. Here's the 0-1. Popped up back behind short. Allie, who did stay in the game, she was re-entered, puts it away for out number 2. So quickly 2 down here against Diedrich in the top half of the 7th inning. I'll bring up Mia Davidson, who's been aboard twice today. Walked in a run in the 1st, popped out to 1st in the 3rd, and doubled in the 5th. Oh. Bottom 3rd of the Ole Miss lineup due up in the bottom of the 7th. We'll see who comes to the plate. Alvarez scheduled to lead off. Davidson with a fly ball to right field. Latham has it. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Diedrich. Last chance for Ole Miss, down 2 after 6.5.
What?
Inning, Mississippi State 0-13 to start the season. 1-15 was their record before this turnaround. A 7-game winning streak, all against conference opponents. You see how they've increased the run production. Most importantly, the ERA, the pitching staff has delivered. We've seen a couple of defensive plays, and they are in unison and in sync defensively as they get ready for the bottom half of the 7th inning.
Synchronized swimming, synchronized outfielding, you know, just they can do it all.
And we've seen they have struggled in the field at times, but when they needed a play, they got one from Quinn earlier in the game. Davidson at third with the awkward pick, and Leilua with the grab at first base. But it starts with the pitching here for Mississippi State. Williams with the first 4 1/3. Loza came in, has really shined in this role for Mississippi State, trying to save it for Williams and trying to advance Mississippi State onto the next round. Pinch hitter for Ole Miss, here to lead things off, Naomi Jones. Down on the count, 0-2.
I think a big part of Mississippi State's turnaround has just been, talk to Coach Ricketts, making their practices more competitive, just scoring their scrimmages differently at practices, putting more emphasis on quality at bats rather than scoring runs. Also doing a drill called 21 outs, and if you've ever played softball in college, you know what 21 outs is. Have to make 21 consecutive perfect plays, or just clean plays, I should say, without committing an error. And so I think by making practices more competitive and also a little bit of fun, they'll have fun with that competitive, with different teams, of making them competitive teams going up against each other. They've really loosened up and been able to find ways to compete in the circle, out on defense, up at the plate. This is a different looking Mississippi State team than what we saw halfway through SEC season.
Loza with the first strikeout, 1 away.
Just looks like a fastball outside corner, moving up a little bit too, had a little bit of rise on it, but just gassed by Loza up and away from Jones.
So Allie will step in. She grounded out to third in the second, was hit for by Vitved in the 5th. Second plate appearance for her, and Loza starts with strike 1. So much of sports is just confidence, and the confidence that Mississippi State is showing right now, what we see in Loza in the circle, just radiating out to the rest of the team. Grounded back to her. She'll throw it on the first. They are fired up with 2 down.
Yeah, and it feels good too to beat a team that beat you really bad in the regular season, and you have the last word potentially of the 2021 season to say, you know what, who you faced earlier on this season, that's not us. We're going to get you in the SEC tournament. We're going to have the last word.
Quinn had the great running catch last inning for Mississippi State. Loza getting the ground ball out. And here is Tate Whitley. You got a good look at Loza there after all the celebrating and the smiles. There's still 1 out to get, and she looked in. Mia Davidson, the catcher behind the plate, got her attention. You saw Loza tap her head, point to Davidson, locking in here to try to get 1 final out for the Bulldogs.
Well, and you know, this is a pretty veteran team too that Mississippi State has. A lot of seniors, a senior in the circle, senior back behind the plate, a senior at first base, at third base. I know I'm missing some too, but they have a lot of experience, and they've learned a lot in their time at Mississippi State, all bringing it to the culmination right now. Every game that you play, you feel it as a senior, and you want to be able to give your all for your team.
1 strike away, the 0-2 to Whitley. Full rally mode in the Ole Miss dugout. Down to the 1-2 to Whitley. Swung on and missed, and Mississippi State keeps it going. 8 wins in a row. The Bulldogs moving on to the next round of the SEC softball tournament.
Big win for Mississippi State, and you didn't really feel all the emotions that a rivalry really brings until right there at the end. Loza fist pumping, them celebrating as a team, Mia Davidson being pumped up too, back behind the plate.